Why are you excited to be here tonight?
Because I'm just excited.
Yeah. No other explanation. Now, I do believe, tell me the truth. Is it true that your dad has a ringside seat, but didn't get you guys ringside seats?
That is true, but it's because of his YouTube channel, okay? It's his YouTube, okay?
Her dad's an influencer. Let him go, guys. But your dad's awesome, right?
Yeah.
See, he's awesome! Yeah! Give it up for Claire. Thank you so much, Claire. High five. Yeah!
Mi gente, you already know who it is. It's the radioactive pop with Danny Limelight, United Wrestling Network World Heavyweight Champion. And make sure you tune into the Alliance blog every week. You heard it here first. Straight from Bobby.
Hey guys, check this out. I am officially now sponsored by Dubby. Dubby is a clean energy drink made to give you focus with no crash. If you guys are like me, you're always needing a burst of energy, especially with one with no crash. Dubby contains vitamins, amino acids, a nootropic, and 150 milligrams of caffeine. It keeps me awake with no jitters, guys. Check it out. Merch link is in the bio. Oops. What's up, everybody? I'm here, I promise. I just left the screen up. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the pre-party, a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. That's your number one source for news and information for the National Wrestling Alliance. My name is Jay Cowan. Each and every Tuesday, I come to you bearing the gift of gab. Not really. Now, trying to talk about wrestling, that's for sure. Trying to talk about the NWA. And I just realized my screen's over here showing sensitive information. So we'll fix that. We'll fix that plenty by doing this and then doing this. Yeah, now you can see me in 3K or something like that. This is the pre-party where I kindly serve ham sandwiches to jabronis and the like. We are a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. And Tuesdays, we'd like to talk NWA. I hope you guys like talking NWA with me. Let's see. I have some buddies in the chat. At least I did. Where'd everyone go? Sound off if you're in the chat. I see Willie Bowen's here. I got Double D Devin Dallin in the house. Rick from PWZ is in the house. Some changes over at the Pro Wrestling Zone. They're going to be doing things a little bit differently over there. I'm excited for what's coming next for Rick. I hope you guys are too. You should check it out. The PWZ Pro Wrestling Zone. Pro Wrestling Zone. It's funny if you could say Pro Wrestling's Own and Pro Wrestling Zone, and it sounds the same. Willie's here. Mike is here. Don't say ham sandwich. Tyrus may appear and ask where they are. The Immovable Object, Tyrus. Did you guys hear that? Oh, mate. I will say this, right? I'll say this. Last week, Chris Adonis tweeted out there like the real reason why the NWA fans didn't accept Tyrus as world champion was nothing to do with his politics. And of course, I'm paraphrasing here, but said it was because the dude couldn't move in the ring. Now, is he wrong? No, not at all. He's 100% right. Did the fans react that way? 100%. A lot of people said, yeah, he can't move and his politics suck. It was a very big outrage. And it was kind of interesting to see that, genocide kind of came to Tyrus's defense, which that kind of surprised me, to be quite honest. But then, he deleted the tweet. And I feel like if you're going to say something like that, if you're going to come out there and say something like that, you got to kind of stand by it, unless Billy told him to take it down, in which case, I wouldn't be surprised with that either. I had no idea the camera was so zoomed in on me. Jeez Louise. Let's back off a little bit. Damn. The Masked Superstar. if you wheels. Thank you, Dave Scooby. Let's go to some comments. We're going to talk some wrestling here. Steve G says, does anyone know what's going on with the United Wrestling Network? Appears X and website are gone. Ooh, that's not a good sign. That's not a good sign. Ooh. That is not a good sign. What about Championship Wrestling? Is that still around? That's not good. Oh, that's a bad sign, guys. No, I don't know what's going on. If you read the tea leaves, I think that there's been some issues with the United Wrestling Network and some of their advertisers. And it's me, Betty. I think you stole my picture, bro. Let me see this. I'm on TikTok right now, too, and this cat stole my photo. That's all right. So let's see. You got me all off guard here, Betty. Anyways, let's see. So no, Steve, I don't know what's happening in United Wrestling Network. I know that they are kind of in a transition right now. I know that they've been showing some of the best of and some of the clips from the past. I know that they just reached, I think, 13 years, or maybe it's 14 years, doing the show, the Championship Wrestling from Hollywood show. So I'm hoping that only positive things come from that, but we'll have to wait and see. Media M5 says, oh, he's talking to everyone else. They're there in their banner now. As far as their site, all they have had is the Improv site naming dates for Hollywood wrestling. Hollywood website is active. Okay. All right. I'm just kind of confused now. Okay. Our pal Hisa's here. What's up, Hisa? Our pal Kayfabe is here. Kayfabe Soup. You guys should follow him. If you like pro wrestling memes, Kayfabe Soup is the guy. Sam Retro's in the house. That's my guy. Sam Retro and I ate barbecue together. We watched wrestling together. Eric Dale. Hey, man. I don't think I've seen you on here before, Eric, but welcome to the show. I appreciate you checking us out. We're here every Tuesday talking about the NWA. Steve G, I as somebody I consider myself a friend of Dave Marquez, I've not heard anything about him leaving the Hollywood market, but I would also say wouldn't be surprised one bit if he did. It's kind of this interesting dynamic because although I enjoy what the United Wrestling Network is, I enjoy Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. I really enjoy the talents. You go to those Irvine tapings, there's a lot of people there at Port Hueneme. The show didn't have the same attendance numbers, and it was like it was a free show for those TV tapings, so it's kind of interesting. But they never really get the support of the crowd in a market where you think they would. So it's just one of those things where I wouldn't be surprised if Marquez did leave California. I don't want him to, but I wouldn't be surprised. They seem to have really taken a kin to him in Derby City. So our good friend Pollo is here. I'm going to see Pollo in November. November's a busy month for me. I'm going to see Pollo at the Pride Wrestling event in Palm Springs. That's going to be a lot of fun. I got people coming. We're doing it. The old tweet and delete. Yeah, I mean, look, I understand why. If Billy said, "Hey, that's not cool," also that's something I don't think anybody in the NWA should have posted about. Maybe leave the shit talking to Camille because she seemingly gets away with it. Pollo, I didn't see that. I know he mentioned it, but I never saw an actual crowdsourcing thing. No, Pollo, no. I'm also live streaming on TikTok. If you go to TikTok, you'll see me live streaming there. And somebody literally said, "Hey, we look alike," and it's literally a photo of me from when I was with my daughter at a WOW wrestling show. So he must have followed my Instagram account, which is cool because like, comment, subscribe, and follow because it's always appreciated. I was wondering why they was airing primetime live matches on Sunday. Yeah, Retro, they've kind of had to pull back a little bit, but I think they are, this is the anniversary time of the year for them. And they have such a huge vault of matches. I kind of wish they would double down and go back to the old NWA showcase matches. Give me some Blue Demon versus Scott Lost. Give me Rashay Brown versus Trevor Murdoch. Give me some old school NWA wrestling matches. Since he's not looking at Twitch, Marquez posted a GoFundMe type thingy requesting financial support for United Wrestling Network. I didn't see that, Poyo. I'll look at that later. I know that they have stumbled upon some hard times. They've had some issues with some advertising. We'll see what happens with that. Hey, Eric, you're welcome here, man. Always glad you're here today. For those of you in the Southern California area, or even if you're within driving distance, I'm talking about the folks who are in Arizona, state line. Let's come on down to Palm Springs, hang out at the Pride of the Desert tournament November 4th at Oscars in Palm Springs. I got my tickets. You should get yours too. I'm rolling deep. I'm rolling with my wife and my neighbor and my best friend and his wife. We're all going to come out and support Poyo Del Mar. Mike's here. He said, "What's up?" Kayfabe says a double deuce of Poyo today. Double dose. Excuse me. Let's see. Poyo will be on Twitch later tonight, this evening. Are you going to be watching more Joe Kazana promotions, Poyo? And Poyo, did you hear us put you over to Joe Kazana and him put you over? I bet you didn't. Yeah, Poyo. It's a mutual admiration society. Poyo Del Mar has been very kind to us, and we appreciate Poyo jumping in on our live streams. And so when we can, we're going to support you right back, because that's what a good community does. Can you guys talk about, can I talk to you for a minute about something that's on my mind? I'm thinking about how many title matches have been announced recently for the NWA champions outside of the NWA. I know it sounds kind of weird, but the old timely champion defends all across the country thing has kind of diminished over the past few years. We saw that most visibly with Nick Aldis, who prior to the tapings of NWA Power, before Power started, you would see Nick Aldis take that 10 pounds of gold across the globe, like we've talked about before lots of times. China, Australia, he was there all in, right? He lost the title to Cody at All In, but he was all around the world, the UK, Canada, defending the 10 pounds of gold. And he not only defended all across the country, he was in promotions like Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. He was in the promotions in the Northeast. I can't remember which one that was, but he was always defending that title everywhere. It was a thing of beauty. And it's one of the reasons why Nick Aldis became one of the most prominent world's heavyweight champions of our time, because he did what, those of yesteryear would do. He, in the same vein as Scrap Iron Adam Pearce, Blue Demon Jr., Rob Conway, AJ Styles, Jeff Jarrett, they literally took that belt and took it all across the globe. So it was really exciting when you saw Nick Aldis do that. But then the amount of defenses started to diminish when NWA announced Power. And then you would see those titles less and less. And I know what you're going to say is like, whoa, pump the brakes, Jay. You have to have the world heavyweight champion on TV defending the title there or on pay-per-views. But NWA never has been a full-time wrestling promotion under the Lightning One era. And with no disrespect intended to any of the performers, athletes, or otherwise, but when the tapings usually are 2 or 3 days a week in a pay-per-view every quarter, right? That's not a whole lot of demand for your schedule, which means you should have ample opportunity to take that title all across the globe. And I know you're going to say, hey, wait, take it easy, Jay. The pandemic really slowed things down for a lot of people, but you have to understand, right? It wasn't just the pandemic. After, wrestling crowds were allowed to return to watching these wrestling shows, Nick Aldis never ramped up those title defenses the way he had prior to the pandemic. Now, maybe those were for safety concerns. Maybe he wanted to play cautious. And I guess I could respect someone for wanting to play it cautious, but you look at the champions since then, and again, we don't see a lot of world title defenses outside of the NWA. We haven't seen a lot of title defenses outside of the NWA, with the exception of a few people. Like Homicide took the junior heavyweight title, defended it everywhere. Kerry Morton also likewise took that title everywhere. Of course, the great Camille, the one time, she definitely made a habit of taking that championship everywhere on the road. And defended it in multiple promotions. And of course, the NWA doing the joint effort with AAA in Mexico, having those titles defended in Mexico and having those titles defended on Australia. Of course, Kenzie took the TV title, defended it in Australia. And likewise, and I saw Poyle point out to it, but we are seeing that renaissance kind of happening again, where EC3 in 1 month has either had more or will have more title defenses than Tyrus had the entire time he was world champion. And with no disrespect to Trevor Murdoch, we didn't see him travel much as world's heavyweight champion. I think he did the Pope's Love Alive charity show. I think he did the Love Alive charity show, and I know he did the SCIW event, and I think that's it in terms of his title defenses outside of the NWA. Matt Cardona, Cardona carried the belt with him to a lot of places, but he never defended that title outside of an NWA ring. So when I see EC3 scheduled to defend his title this Saturday against Lord Crew, I'm excited. When I see Colby Corino literally has 3 title defenses Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I get very excited. When I know Kenzie Paige is going to be going to the Southern Honor of Wrestling, I get excited. When I see our champions, Ella Envy and Kenzie Paige are set for WrestleCade, I'm jacked up. And what Poyle mentioned, we're seeing Max the Impaler take their television title to Finland. I don't think an NWA title's ever been to Finland, and if it has, it's been 20 years since it has. But Max is taking the TV title to Finland, the Women's Television Championship. Then Max will be going to Stardom, where they will defend their TV title in Stardom. The matches are already announced. We're putting up a lot of the upcoming events at the alliance-wrestling.com under the events section. Check it out. We're going to be updating it more and more. Obviously, there's so much stuff coming out. A lot of events are happening. Joe Kazana Promotions just ran this past weekend, and I know that Camille was there. I know Thom Latimer was there. Joe even told us that Thrillbilly and Tom had a match. And of course, the women tag team champions were there, and it's an exciting time for the NWA. And this is all, again, I don't want to blame Tyrus for everything, because obviously Tyrus was only one person. He was one champion, but I feel like there's a renewed sense of urgency for the NWA. Again, I feel like they're actually getting out there trying to get over. Joe Kazana said on our podcast on Thursday that he believed that in just a few years' time that the NWA was going to be the number 2 wrestling promotion in the world. Now, he's a lot more optimistic than I am, but I feel like they are certainly making the right decisions today that could get them closer to being a number 2 promotion in the world. Now, I mean, that's pie in the sky thinking, guys, and I don't mean to poo-poo on what Joe Kazana said, because dude was awesome. Go listen to that interview if you didn't. He's as passionate about the NWA as I am, and that makes me very happy. But I still feel like there are going to be some growing pains. The NWA does have to hit some milestones before it could even be close to being considered number 2. Obviously, a more active event calendar for them is going to help. But seeing those champions out on the road again, I don't know whose decision it was. I don't know if that's a Billy Corgan decision. I don't know if that's the talent just saying, "Hey, can I defend this, boss?" Or if that's a Pat Diamond decision. Pat Kelly, excuse me. I don't care whose decision it is. I think it's the right one. Now, with all that being said, let's get back to what you guys are talking about, because I like hearing what you guys have to say in the comment section. Let me get a drink of my Dubby. By the way, W right now, if you go to their website, they have a code. You get 40% off any purchases. Now, don't use my code for that because this is a short-time deal. You get 40% off. But if anytime you order W using my code, which is in the video description, you get 20% off. That's pretty cool. All right, let's see. Okay. All right. There is ample time for any champion to travel between tapings and pay-per-views to defend the belts, period. So Pollo's right in line with me, and that's what's cool because Pollo works for the NWA. I do not. I am not a paid representative. I'm not a voice for the alliance. Well, check that. I'm the voice for this alliance, but I have nothing to do with the NWA except for a lot of wanting to see them succeed. That's my dog in this hunt. So it's cool that Pollo also agrees with me on that. Pollo also brings up Max the Impaler is taking the TV title worldwide, upcoming defenses Japan and Finland. And I think that is truly epic. And that it's almost like it's time to rechristen that title, right? Forget the TV title, forget the Lucky Seven. Let's call it the NWA Momentum International Championship. I mean, we're seeing that title having now been defended in Australia, Finland, Japan. I mean, that's freaking impressive. That's so impressive. And I'd rather see those matches occur than any TV title match, to be quite honest. Max will bring a lot of pride to the NWA, no pun intended there, as champion. I think being able to take that title to these international waters, I think is awesome. Dodie says, Colby somehow becoming busy more and more, probably the most active NWA fighting champion more than anyone on the roster. I agree. And I also feel like, are we on borrowed time? Is there something we don't know? Is Colby trying to rack all these defenses in while he can because maybe he's already going elsewhere? I don't know. That's just forecasting. Look, the guy had a deal with the WWE at one point. Maybe that deal might be back in play sometime soon in the near future. Either way, Colby's a tremendous athlete. I think nothing but the best of that guy. Somewhere he might still have an alliance hat that I gave one to him at Hard Times, but we'll see. Poyle says, Steve G, how in Nation would I know? I never know what's on NWA tonight. That's funny. Sorry, that was a A and B conversation, so I'll see my way out. Let's see. Kayfabe says, made a little meme ski about the title defenses, and now a whole bunch more people know the name Lord Crew. Lord Crew, you know what? Talking about Lord Crew, why don't we just go ahead and play? This?
They say that it takes years to become an overnight success. EC3, you have had a long, successful career full of accolades that most men dream of. And just how you called your shot for the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship on September the 23rd, Lord Crew is calling his. And if I have anything to say about it, your title run is over, man.
Over, man. He's paying attention to the product. Put him over for that and that alone. Lord Crew is a guy that if you haven't been watching a lot of United Wrestling Network or some AEW Dark, you might have missed a lot of Lord Crew's appearances. He has been a force in United Wrestling Network. He started off at Atlanta with them when they did Championship Wrestling from Atlanta. He transitioned into United States, into California when they did Championship Wrestling presented by CarShield. And then he's been a part of Derby City as well. Lord Crew looks like a badass. And honestly, that promo was perfect. I'm excited to see more and more what he's going to bring to the table. He's a guy that I'm kind of surprised isn't on that NWA roster. I want to see more of Lord Crew. And this is an excellent opportunity where EC3, the Overman, has all these eyeballs looking at him. This is an opportunity for Lord Crew, win, lose, or draw. You don't necessarily have to go over to get over, man. Anyways, I'm excited. Hope to see Lord Crew get a lot more FaceTime after that. Let's see more comments. I want to get to everyone's comments. It's part of the fun part of the show. Let's see. Yes, I did say that Trevor didn't face Gangrel at the Love Alive charity, or I think I just mentioned that he was at the Love Alive charity defense. Depends on what you consider a nobody. A National Wrestling Alliance title can and should absolutely be defended against the best from local companies. And that was Pollo answering Rosville's comment. The opponents seem to be at a level that give more value to the world's title. There's two thoughts on that. And Pollo kind of brings up one thought, but also remember, not everyone that Ric Flair defended the 10 pounds of gold with was with a household name. You remember, Flair traveled the territories. So Flair wrestled in Jim Crockett Promotions. He wrestled in Georgia. He wrestled up in the Mid-Atlantic. He wrestled in Texas. He wrestled in Missouri. He wrestled in California. He wrestled in Don Owens in Portland. He wrestled in Hawaii. And not every one of those guys was a household name. So, like, you might not know some of these guys that are challenging EC3, but I can guarantee you they're at the tops of the level. Lord Crew might not be a household name today, but watch that guy. Watch him. He's money. He's going to be a lot of fun to watch, and he's kind of towers over EC3. So we're going to have to see EC3. You know, EC3 is one of these guys who, yeah, he's a body guy, but he isn't a very big guy. He isn't like Tyrus was a super heavyweight. I bet it wouldn't take much for EC3 to cut to the junior heavyweight if he wanted to. So he's going to have his back up against the wall with a guy like Lord Crew. But we saw what he did against Tyrus. Maybe he could do it again with Lord Crew this weekend. We'll see. The tops of regional promotions. I think we're all in agreement with that. I don't want to see him wrestle, jabroni number one, but sometimes you have to get there to get there. You know what I mean? Like, for EC3, some places aren't going to be as receptive as we would all like for the 10 pounds of gold. So it is what it is. We'll see what happens, but I'm excited about it for sure. Sam Retro said, WrestleCade is where I originally seen Kenzie and Ella as Pretty in Pink. That Ella Envy, a big fan. Willie says, the immovable object, Tyrus, is the worst NWA World's Heavyweight Champion. Maybe. I mean, say what you will. And I saw your comment the other night, Willie, about him wrestling a junior heavyweight in Mexico. The fact of the matter is he is the first champion since Blue Demon to take the 10 pounds of gold to Mexico City. I think there's something to be admirable about that. He was not my favorite guy by far, but he did do some things that hadn't been done in a very long time. Pollo says, remember, the NWA is the National Wrestling Alliance, traditionally a group of promoters which all recognize the World's Heavyweight title. And that, unfortunately, changed when Billy Corgan purchased the Lightning One. Lightning One purchased the NWA and changed from a sanctioning body to a singular promotion. Now, the cool thing about that is, in some regards, it's still a sanctioning body, because every time you're world champion, or any champion for that matter, is defending abroad and not on a power stage or not on a pay-per-view platform, the NWA still has to sanction that match. So although Lightning won, Billy Corgan, the NWA has become a single entity, where before it was a sanctioning body. They're still sanctioning title matches, which is cool for the fans. I think it's cool for the wrestlers, and I think ultimately it's good publicity for the NWA, getting more eyeballs on the product. EC3 is already scheduled to be in Salt Lake City, Utah in early December. I believe it's December 9th. He'll have a title match against Manny Lemons. And the cool thing about that is people in Salt Lake City might not be watching the NWA. They might not even have any awareness of the NWA, but because EC3 will be there, because Chris Adonis just wrestled in that promotion, there are more people now paying attention to what the NWA is, and that's going to help with their views. That's going to help with their pay-per-view numbers, and that's going to help sell merch, and that hopefully will, rising tides will lift everything up. I'm excited for it. You guys should be too. Also, props to the NWA social media team for helping get the word out on all this activity. It used to feel like it was just me doing this. And again, I don't work for the NWA, but I felt like that's why this whole freaking thing started. My website was started to kind of be an aggregate for the NWA so that you could find all the news and information, because it wasn't readily out there. Gary and the rest of the guys doing the social media for the NWA are killing it. I'm happy that they're doing such a good job. Makes my life a lot easier. Plus, it's great that the fans can actually see where this stuff is happening now. Like, look, when Colby defends the title on Friday night against Donnie Ray at the 8th Annual Premier Tag League for Premier Wrestling Federation. Look, if you have independentwrestling.tv, that's included. You could check that out. You can watch that match for free, or well, not for free. You have to; it's part of your subscription, but it's available, and that's something that hasn't been readily available in the past few years. So it's kind of cool. If you're a fan of the NWA, you can see your champ defend on other programs. I think that's pretty cool. Pat Kenny, what did I say? I said Pat Diamond. Did I call him Pat Diamond and not Pat Kenny? It's a matter of having a solid group of champions working the indies to be seen versus one champion on a TV show seen by many. Ultimately, which is better for the company? I mean, at the end of the day, your world's heavyweight champion shouldn't even be defended on Power. I mean, if you're asking Jay's opinion, why would you put EC3 on Power for a title defense? No, he should be in there talking the talk, selling the pay-per-view. If you go back and look at what Ric Flair did, you go back and look at what Rick Steamboat did or Sting, like, yeah, they had a few matches on, TBS every now and then, but really you saw him at Clash of the Champions or the pay-per-views or building up house gates for the folks to go watch until the NWA has a more regular touring schedule. I feel like that's the perfect place for your world champion to be, is in other wrestling promotions hyping up the NWA. Steve G says the NWA can be number 2, but without a streaming or TV deal. Yeah, I don't see that happening without a major TV deal, but that doesn't mean it can't happen. Like, look, again, right now we're in this weird time and space and continuity where there's no new programming being created right now. If you cross the line, you're a scab. And wrestling isn't part of the union. Wrestling isn't. You're not breaking any picket lines by going to the wrestling shows. What I was talking earlier on TikTok about The Rock. The Rock coming to WWE is not crossing any picket lines. It's not affecting the strike. So The Rock coming to the WWE, like, as long as there's a strike, why wouldn't you do that? Why, if you're not able to create movies, you create TV shows, why not go back to the WWE? And likewise, these movie theaters are going to start having difficulty putting butts in seats. TV shows, networks are going to start wanting fresh original content. And this is where wrestling could really benefit. If there's some forward thinking and people ready to go with a brand new high definition, like 4K filmed studio in Nashville, Skyline Studios, where it looks and feels way better than it did in previous years. Maybe that's because they're trying to get ready for TV. You and I don't know this, it's all just speculation. What is up, Double D? Polka Dot Pam says, Max is my favorite current champion. Max is impressive, and I'll just leave it at that. I am very curious as to see what they are able to do as TV champion. Now, I would say that what Max does in Finland or in Japan probably won't have any bearing on the best of 7, as we've seen in the past. There's already precedent where that doesn't count. For example, when Kenzie Paige was defending in Australia, she had title matches in Australia that weren't acknowledged by the NWA. Thom had multiple matches outside of the NWA that did not count towards his best of 7. So again, I don't. Same thing with. I guess just Thom. It didn't really propel him any closer to that lucky 7. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes. But I'm really excited. I'm hoping that we'll see some fun stuff. Roswell said, I saw the highlights of Kobe's last match. Hardcore stuff. That's cool, man. I didn't see it yet. I know it's out there. A lot of these promotions are kind of starting to be on one channel. I know there's the aforementioned, like the NWA is on Fight. But I just mentioned where Colby, his next match is at the independentwrestling.tv. And then there was that other Pro Wrestling Network that I think that was the last Colby match. So you're seeing these title matches. You have the ability to see them quite quickly, quite fast. I think that's really cool. Dodie says, I remember somebody has defending the NWA title in Finland. Forgot it's during TNA era before that. Then I would guess it'd probably be AJ Styles or Jeff Jarrett. because they really are the only ones I remember defending the title outside of the U.S. I know they were in South Korea. They could have been in Finland, but again, we're talking that's almost 20 years ago, right? Double D says Mandy Rakowski has a WWE tryout this week with Brogan Finley. There's a lot of talent going to those WWE tryouts, but remember, tryouts aren't necessarily guaranteed that they're going to get signed. It's an opportunity for networking. It's an opportunity for exposure. Somebody like Mandy Rakowski, she definitely would be a great fit for the WWE. She'd be a great fit anywhere. I think we're all lucky to have her in the NWA, and she's getting over with her main character interview segment that she does on social media. We'll see what happens with her. But, you know, and I think like it would be personally, I hope they all get signed. I hope they all make millions of dollars in wrestling. I hope they all get jobs and work there for their lives and do great for their families and themselves and live happily ever after. The reality is not everyone's going to do that. And if this being at that tryout helps elevate their stock in any way, good. I hope they get better because of it. Burying the lead. How about Maddie and that dude getting WWE tryouts? I mean, there's I shouldn't say a lot. There are a few names associated with the NWA that are getting tryouts with the WWE this week. I know that the other Alliance guys will be talking about that tomorrow. Their new time, 30 minutes later, if you watch them at 6:05 in the past, they'll be on now at 6:35 and 3:30 on the West Coast. Check them out tomorrow, youtube.com/The Alliance blog. James Bell brings up a good point. 60,000 views for POWERRR 2 weeks ago and 48,000 for last week's episode as momentum is growing. I want to remind you that you are 100% correct. The momentum is growing. And I can speak with some earnest here because I did carry those numbers for a long time. I used to document the numbers of how many views they were getting. And the first season of POWERRR, this is when it was very exciting. Jim Cornette was in the booth. Their shows were getting over 100,000 views. It didn't happen in 1 week, happened usually by 2 or 3 weeks. 100,000 views. That was huge. Big business, right? When the NWA fired Jim Cornette, those numbers dropped significantly. And we're talking 70,000, 60,000, still really good numbers, but not nearly the numbers they had prior. And then, of course, when they took all of their content off of YouTube before the fight announcement, they were still getting very relatively low numbers, 20,000 here, 20,000 there, with the Shockwave, NWA Shockwave. When they came back to YouTube, those numbers started returning, but still, I think they went down before they went up, and we are seeing numbers that are more in line with what they were doing before the pandemic than we've seen before. So that's also a positive. And again, a lot of those numbers jumped almost instantly when you put EC3 as World Heavyweight Champion. Again, the renewed interest, the next era of the NWA, a lot of people are excited about that. And I think they have a lot of good reason to be excited about that. So we'll see if that continues to grow. I like that. Poy says, what I think we could be seeing now are talents who are still very enmeshed in the indie circuit and are looking to make their names out there versus someone who viewed themselves as established. Again, Poyo, I think you're 100% right here because, Tyrus was a made man. Trevor Murdoch was a made dude. He still is, but you have people out there who are hungry. And I hate to bring up hard feelings, Poyo, but, Thrillbilly's a guy who we all fell in love with this guy. He captivated that NWA audience, and now he's got an opportunity to take that national title and not just defend it at Joe Kazana Promotions, but maybe take that title to Glory Pro Wrestling or wherever else he could take that title. And because the fans kind of fell in love with him in the NWA, perhaps that's going to open up more doors for him to go elsewhere. I mean, the guy's crazy talented. And such a good promo, such a fun wrestler to watch. I want to see more doors open up for guys like him, guys like Kerry, not just the Southern Six, but the other folks on the roster, like a Jordan Clearwater. Hell, Jordan Clearwater was the United Wrestling Network World Champion for a brief time. I want to see more doors open for these guys and more opportunities, and so that we see more of these guys out on the road. Let's see. Dodie liked the promo from Lord Crew. Roswell's down with the promo. I just hope I don't get in trouble for jacking that promo. I want to put these guys over. Guys who are working for the NWA, guys who aren't working for the NWA. I want to help them get over. These matches are important. I think everyone should be more aware of these. So I'm going to keep doing stuff like that, and we'll see if your boy Jay gets any heat for it. But in the meantime, I'm a big Lord Crew fan, and I hope he has an excellent showing against EC3. And I hope in the next 6 months we see Lord Crew as part of the NWA roster in the future. We'll just have to kind of wait and see for that. I think I saw that match, Poyo. I think I saw that one, and you're like, what's going on here? Why is Flair putting this kid over so much? But that's what Flair did. And that's what a good world champion does. And I reminded, I'll go into my back pocket, and I'll remind anyone who's watching about a gentleman by the name of Maestro, the Stro. Unfortunately, the Maestro has not been doing well. I don't have the link here, but we'll share that link to his GoFundMe. He's not doing so great. But there was a point in time where he was one of Adam Pearce's biggest rivalries. And every time I talked to Adam Pearce on a podcast, he did a tremendous job of putting over how good the Maestro was. And every time you'd watch them wrestle, it looked so effortlessly. It looked like they had been wrestling each other for 100 years. And there was the sense, there was the believability that at any time, Pearce could lose that title to the Maestro. Now, did he? No. But there was that believability that he could. And that's the thing. What a good world champion can do is make themselves look good, make their opponent look good. And if you can make yourself look good and your opponent look good, then you're doing an excellent job. Flair's MO was legitimately to come in and use the NWA World's title as his high profile to help establish these regional stars as real contenders. Exactly. That's what a world champion should be doing. Flair, all in all, was the best wrestler to place up a pair of boots. Devin Dowling, you don't know who Blue Demon Jr. is? Ay, los míos, mijo. I'll send you some matches. EC3 is NWA World Heavyweight Champion in Ohio Valley. He's not the top dog, which he doesn't have to be the top dog in Ohio Valley. But he has a presence, and the 10 pounds of gold is with him. Yeah, boy, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I understand the dynamic of what's going on here. There is value in the NWA name, and as long as those eyeballs keep rolling in for that YouTube channel and the pay-per-view buy rates keep going up and people start retweeting these things and these champions are getting recognized as such, that there's going to be a higher demand for these talents on the independent level. And you know, like, it's the same thing when Adam Pearce became world's heavyweight champion, when Rob Conway became world's heavyweight champion, a lot of people would say, what are they actually the champion of? What does the NWA mean today? And at first there was a lot of pushback. The NWA doesn't mean anything because it's no longer attached to TNA. The NWA doesn't mean anything because Adam Pearce left. The NWA doesn't mean anything because it's not working with New Japan Pro Wrestling. But by and by, the NWA keeps it never goes away. And I mean this as in a term of endearment. The NWA is like the wrestling's version of a cockroach. You cannot kill it. It will not die. Because I've seen lots of times, lots of people try to kill it, and it just doesn't happen. It's never happened. Shane Douglas took that belt, threw it down, and you know what happened? Membership grew. It was literally Shane Douglas threw the title down. A year later, Chris Candido becomes champion. A couple months later, Dan the Beast Severin is wrestling in Japan as world's heavyweight champion. You cannot kill the brand. For every Mike Rapata, there is an Adam Pearce, a Steve Corino, somebody who brings the title more prominence, a Shinya Hashimoto, a Dan Severin. Who else do you want to mention? You know, people thought that the NWA was on its last legs when Jack Stain and Tim Storm were wrestling for the title at the Cauliflower Alley Club. But here we are. Here we are. That's what I was. That's what I was kind of mentioning. I'm probably a little bit slower on getting to your guys' comments from what you're typing them, so I apologize if I'm not. I like hearing this though. J. Cal is 100% right in confirming that each time an NWA champion comes to a localized promotion, it increases awareness and interest in the NWA power and our stars. I love hearing when Poyo says I'm right because I just like that validation. I absolutely was not discussing EC3 as one champion on a TV show. I got that, Poyo. I didn't take it that way. Right. And that's the thing, Double D. Even Aldis didn't defend all the time he was cutting promos. Right. Because he didn't have to defend the title on every episode of Power. And I don't want everyone to think that I'm advocating that. What I'm saying is that every time Nick Aldis, every time Trevor Murdoch, every time Matt Cardona, Tyrus, anytime these guys get outside of the NWA, they should be defending that title. They should be working that into their contract. When it's the most prestigious title in the history of the sport, yet you don't even come to your wrestling promotion with it or not allowed to defend it, maybe that promotion doesn't value the title. Nothing hurt me more than seeing Matt Cardona, defending his digital media championship WrestleMania weekend when he has the 10 pounds of gold right there with him. It just didn't feel right. What about Kenzie? When is she going to start defending the title like the other champions are in the NWA? Steve G, she is. I hope you didn't miss that on this conversation. She's already had a title defense on Power against Samantha Starr. I believe she also had a title defense just last Saturday with Friday with Joe Kazana Promotions. I know she teamed up with her sister Kenzie the following night, but she's out there too. And like I said, she's got a match scheduled with Southern Wrestling of Honor. I'm butchering the name, but they're a promotion in Georgia. Big, very akin to the old school style of Ring of Honor. She'll be defending the title there against Jordan. Oh God, what's her name? Danny Jordan. Got it. Poyo says Max already has 3 televised broadcast defenses in the can. Don't think they have much to worry about in regards to Lucky 7. Yeah, Poyo. Yeah, and I don't. I just want to clarify it because the big deal is let's not bury the lead. The fact of the matter is that a NWA champion will be in Finland. A NWA champion will be in Japan. These are the big headlines. Win, lose, or draw, disqualification, double count out. I don't care. Our champion is defending their title in a foreign country, a stranger in a strange land. I think it's beautiful. When it comes to pro wrestling, that's all that I can ask for. K-Fab says, I'm low-key digging this Zyon. I want to see him and Idol back working for the national title. Yeah, you're not going to see a lot of Idol on TV for the tapings. He wasn't there, but you will see some Zyon. I think you're going to enjoy it. Poyle brings up Max is defended against Ruthie Jay, Taylor Rising in an upcoming match I'm aware of, so they're good. Side character spotlight. Thank you, Poyle. Thank you. Willie says that the NWA should hire Freya the Slayer, Jordan Grace, and Genocide. I'm going to say Freya the Slayer is doing just fine working for Ohio Valley. She's also works for Joe Kazana Promotions. I wouldn't be surprised if you did see her show up in the NWA at some point, but don't hold your breath for it. Jordan Grace just re-signed with the Impact, so you're not going to see her. And Genocide, I'm not really sure what Genocide is doing these days. But I think there might be some personal reasons why she's not in the NWA at this point. Yeah, you guys brought up the whole thing. Jennifer Flores should sign with Impact or the NWA. She's going to be a major star. Is that the girl from WoW? And I think all the WoW talents are under contract too. Double D wants to see Rob King and Jared Fritz. Flores is already better than Roxy was in her ROH run. That's debatable. John Ceramic, what's up, bro? That's Fuzz if you know him. Willie says, I want to see the Gun Show, Brett Michaels, Big Swole, Justin Cole, and Danny Limelight in the NWA. I don't think you're going to see Danny Limelight in the NWA anytime soon. Sam Retcher says, the Maestro, like the WCW Maestro, one and the same, my friend. I'm new to the NWA, remember? First time I was in Power's debut, been here since, though. Okay, Double D, fair enough. But you do want to check out some Blue Demon matches. Blue Demon was the first luchador to win the title. Of course, the first masked wrestler to win the title was Abyss. But Blue Demon, as world's heavyweight champion, defended the title once in London, once in Spain. He took the title to Japan when he teamed with Ultimo Dragon in a match in Mexico, or excuse me, a match in Japan, but never really defended the title when he was wrestling in Japan. He was showcased mostly on the NWA Showcase, where he had fought the likes of Joey Ryan, and I want to say Old School Oliver John, I think. But he also defended the title in smaller to mid-sized arena shows for the United Wrestling Network at the time. That was the NWA Pro, David Marquez's group of promotions. And they did Phoenix, they did the Southwest, they did Hidalgo, Texas, Corpus Christi, they did Kissimmee, Florida, all with Blue Demon as champion. So there are some matches out there. In fact, there is a best of Blue Demon in the NWA. You probably can't find it because it's out of print, but eBay, check eBay, they might have it. But yeah, he carried the NWA title for a long time. Was also, like I said, he started up his own wrestling promotion in Mexico, and they had a couple of title defenses in Mexico City, Tijuana, other places too. So, speaking of Scott McGee, he held some regional titles. Not sure if he was complete. Nobody. He even had single matches against Inoki. Okay. I mean, that's, of course, Cisa knows that. Of course he does. Let's see. Ken Shamrock. Shamrock was a good one. All right, hold on. Let's sneeze. Sorry. I'm allergic to Ken Shamrock, apparently. Do we want to see the NWA to just survive, though? I don't think I'm talking about them surviving. I think I'm talking about them thriving. Allergies. I think they're thriving. We just been going on and on about how the titles, all of the titles now are being seen in a bigger, more regular setting. I mean, you're seeing them on different e-pay-per-view formats, i-pay-per-view formats. Man, something really just crawled up my nose or something. Devin, I don't think I'm selling anybody on anything, man. I think the NWA is at a great place. Like, this is where we want it to be. This is after 6 years, I didn't know if this is where I thought the NWA would be, but I'm excited of where it's going. I kind of thought we would have been on TV by now. And I say we, I mean them. But, there's nothing wrong with being on YouTube. And if the end goal is to get onto TV, I feel like they're leveraged in the right place. I don't know. I don't know what Billy's plan is. We're all speculating on what we think the NWA should be. We're all talking about what we think the NWA should be, but really it's what Billy thinks the NWA should be. Maybe Billy only ever sees it as what it is today, in which case they did it. Congratulations, you're exactly where you need to be. Or if he has plans of growing to be like an actual competitor to the WWE, well, then you have to see some milestones reached, and we haven't gotten there yet. We're just nowhere close to being there, but that doesn't mean it can't happen. The biggest crowd to see the NWA World's title match actually happens during its dark days. Shinya Hashimoto versus Ogawa in front of 50,000? 50,000 capacity crowd at the Tokyo Dome in '99. That's huge. Yep, you're right. You're right. I know that, when Rob Conway defended the title at Wrestle Kingdom 3, those were some pretty good numbers too. You can also take into consideration Hashimoto wrestling in 0-1. I mean, actually, no, take that back. 0-1 didn't have big numbers. Impact never had those kind of numbers. Nobody really did. Double D says Kenzie works weekly with New South Pro. She works with New South Pro. She works with Crossfire Wrestling. She works with Joe Kazana Promotions. Kenzie's a busy gal. And also she's been doing a lot of like those women-specific crowds. I think it's called Limitless Wrestling. They're also based in that same hybrid Tennessee, Kentucky, North Carolina area. Ogawa versus Hashimoto for the NWA title was at Tokyo Dome. Took place just 9 days after Ogawa regained the title from Gary Steele at a high school gym in Thomaston, Connecticut. I was there. See, isn't it fun being a fan of the NWA, Hisa? You were there before he was in front of 50,000 people defending the title. It's awesome. I don't feel right with Tyrus had the 10 pounds of gold on Fox News. Fox News has never talked or promoted NWA pay-per-view events. Yeah, I mean, but that's in the past now, Willie. We can move forward. It's a new dawn. It's a new day. It's a new day. So you all count the champions as runs when NWA was in TNA? Absolutely. Those titles were still NWA World titles. Now, you can't say the X Division is an NWA title. That was an Impact-created title. But the NWA World Tag Team titles and the NWA World Heavyweight Championship were very much still NWA properties. In fact, some of the members still booked those titles outside of Impact. NWA Liberty Stakes booked Christian Cage versus Jay Lethal. I mean, I do count those. Yeah, Devin Dowling says, or Poyle says to Devin Dowling, the lineage of the world titles go up to and during the TNA run. So, yes. I mean, you can't just dissect what you don't like, right? Like, you can't take the fact that, Chris Candido was world champion. You can't just cut it out. You can't take away Mike Rapata, doing jobs on WCW Saturday night and then on, Music City Wrestling being the world's heavyweight champion. It just doesn't work that way. For every positive, there's a negative, and that's okay. That's how it works. But, Steve Corino, after his ECW run as NWA World's Heavyweight Champion, Hashimoto, Ogawa, those titles, none of that lineage ever stopped. There was no break in the lineage. Of course, when Shane Douglas threw the belt down, he was forfeited the title, but it never broke the lineage from Lou Thesz. The title still was intact. And likewise, all the runs that were WCW World Champions that were simultaneously NWA World Champions, those are still intact too. They didn't start changing the name of the title till I think about 91. I could be mistaken, but around 91 is when they started referring to it strictly as the WCW World title. And at that point, the NWA was kind of already on its way out. Okay, let's see. Thank you, Steve G. What happened to the title when the TNA split? They had a tournament to crown a new champion, Adam Pearce, Bayman, Puerto Rico, October 2nd, 2007, I think. Yep. Poyle just answered that question perfectly. Let's see. And Devin, NWA history book by Tim Hornbecker and Howard Brody, autobiography, are strongly recommended to learn the history of the NWA. I was actually gifted that book very recently. Swimming with Piranhas. I think I got this for Father's Day. I need to crack it open. But I've been very much looking forward to reading it, just haven't made the time to do it. Oh, yeah. I got a haircut, guys. What do you think? Looks pretty good, right? Howard Brody really recommend to know more about the NWA. Yeah. Okay, so real quick, because there's only a few minutes left, we do have a good night of Power ahead of us. Wait, that was last week's. Never mind. Let's see. Do I have any of the posters? Okay, so I know that one of the big matches for tonight, of course, will be crowning a new number one contender. Now, I can only assume that this means that the winner of this matchup, whether it be Ruthie Jay, Natalia Markova, or Missa Kate, Chicago's sweetheart, Missa Kate, will be the next number one contender. I believe they will get an opportunity at Samhain to challenge for the title, so I'm very excited about that. But then also on this card, we're going to see matches with Zyon. We're going to see Rush Freeman taking on Thom Latimer. We're going to see former tag team champions, two-time tag team champions, La Rebelion, taking on Magic Incorporated, Jake Dumas, and I forgot the other guy's name, Cody Jackson. Cody? Yeah, Cody. So we have some cool things to look forward to. And then real quick, I'm going to throw this out here too while we're here. All those matches that we were talking about, the road to the road to Samhain. I mean, look, of course, we're going to see our world's heavyweight champion defend in October the 28th, but we've got Max. Max is going to be in Finland defending their television championship. This happens this weekend. We've got Colby Corino defending the junior heavyweight title against Donnie Ray. Colby will also be defending the title this weekend against Tommy Vendetta for H2O. Here it is. We were talking about this earlier. Kenzie Paige will be defending against Danny Jordan. Of course, Max will be defending their title on October the 9th for Tokyo Japanese Puroresu. The International Princess and Women's TV title are on the line. It's a double title match. Colby will be defending the title again this weekend, an open challenge. Colby will also be wrestling against Brogan Finley. I believe this is, what's the date on here? September 29th. So next week, Dak Draper, he'll be in action in Glory Pro. I mean, there's so much wrestling going on. Of course, Kylie and Ella will be at WrestleCade, proudly defending the NWA Women's Tag Team titles, I'm sure. So that kind of gets you geared for what's going on in the NWA. We're real excited. Doty's sending the love, man. Go check out the National Wrestling Alliance documentary DVD by Michael Elliott. If you like my handsome face, you'll see lots of it in that thing. Steve G says he hopes Danny Jordan wins. No love for Ella Envy, huh? No love for Kenzie Paige, huh? That's a shame. Kenzie's all right. She's a good girl in my book. But I want to thank you guys all for tuning in. Of course, this doesn't happen without you. I'd be just talking to myself. And my wife can only tolerate so much wrestling talk each and every week. So you guys do me a huge favor by being here to talk NWA with me. Of course, the other guys will be here tomorrow night at 6:30, their new bell time, or 6:30:05, if you will, 3:35, easy for me to say, 6:35 on the East, 3:35 on the West. Get in where you fit for the other Alliance guys. And then, of course, your pal Jay, DKM, and Jaden will be back on Thursday to talk a little NWA. We'll probably be talking more about some of these international title defenses that are coming up for Max. We'll be talking about some of the other matches that are happening. And we might just even talk about the NWA Power, as it happens to be one of the best shows that are out there right now. But again, thanks for the love, Doty. Appreciate that. Double D says that my fiance is like that. Yeah, our women who tolerate that are certainly deserving of a nice dinner at the Olive Garden. So anyways, guys, we're going to call that a day. It's Tuesday, so go check out Power. It starts in like 2 minutes. YouTube.com/the NWA. Check that out. And until next time, no gravy cake here, but we'll see you at the matches. Thanks for checking out the pre-party, a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. You should hit that subscribe button and join our community. I also want to remind you that we recap NWA Power every Thursday at 8 p.m. in the live stream. We try to stay social, so find us at the Alliance blog. And until next time, we are the Alliance.